these predators are out there. They tell you this BS story, but the reason they do that is they want you to subscribe to their newsletter. I went into detail about exposing that, or whatever you will, the less views my videos will get.
You don't have to call out any names, but do you believe right now there are YouTubers in the crypto space using their audience to basically make themselves a personal fortune?
I believe that there are no crypto YouTubers who don't do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Sunday special. Today we're talking about whatever I want to. In this particular episode, we're interviewing a crypto YouTuber who realized he was manipulating his audience, and you kind of get walked through his whole life cycle of, having this influence, realizing that he's manipulating markets, making money with it, feeling bad. I don't know, it's just this fascinating story that most of the time you don't hear, because most people will never admit it. They'll never admit that they're manipulating markets. They'll never admit that they're doing it for their own self-interest. But I found this guy, and he's shockingly candid. I think it's an interview that it starts a little slow, but by the end of it, you realize that this is a pretty unique person. We get the opportunity to hear from. You're not going to hear from a lot of people like this. And when you have a crypto market like we do right now, which is just bananas, it's important to remember. It's important to remember this stuff and not get too invested in the hype men. Listen, there's real things behind crypto. I'm personally invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the problem is you have these hype men, the people who believe in it like a religion. And, I hope this interview goes at least a little ways in dissuading you from buying too much into the hype, and instead keeps you thinking rationally about this crazy time we're living in right now. Please bear in mind that this interview was recorded like four to 6 months ago. But with that being said, I hope you enjoy. I hope you learned something. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Welcome to Coffeezilla. Today we are talking to Asger Folmann, who ran the channel In It for the Money. He's a crypto YouTuber or crypto hype man almost for certain coins. And he's come today to talk to us about how he had a realization about the kind of thing that was happening with his channel. He had some personal realizations that led him to eventually quit making crypto content altogether. Now he runs a self-development podcast, which we can talk about later. But first, before we get into anything else, thank you for coming on the show, and just share the beginning of your journey. When did you get into crypto?
Right. Number one, thanks for having me, Steven. I appreciate it. And when did I begin? So I guess I'd been sort of contemplating what type of YouTube channel I wanted to start back in 2016. So I'm an actor as well. I mean, I actually have an academic background. So I used to think I would be teaching high school, but okay. So I found myself on a movie set.
What's your academic background in, by the way?
So I have a master's in Danish, which is obviously the equivalent of English. So literature, communication, that kind of stuff. And I have another master's in psychology. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. Completely wasted degrees, by the way. but I'm an actor as well. I'm not a trained actor, but I'm doing quite well. Okay. So I found myself on set of a movie. I had a couple of days off. I wasn't needed on set for those days. So I had some free time on my hands, and I was like, okay, maybe now is the time to start this YouTube channel. And I'd been, I guess, like 6 months prior to this, I had tried to invest in some cryptocurrencies, which proved to be impossible back then because the bank kept blocking the transfer of funds. So, right, but I didn't really know anything about it. So I basically created 3 crypto videos. About one was about a specific coin, 2 were more like general advice. I was very aware that it's absurd that you sort of do tutorial videos or share your knowledge with people when you really don't know anything. So I did promise myself, okay, I'm not gonna say anything that I don't feel pretty sure I'm right about. And if people ask me about something I don't know about, I'm just gonna not answer or not say that I know anything about it. So nothing really happened. I uploaded these 3 videos. I think they were online for a couple months, and then all of a sudden one of them just took off, got like, I don't know, 10, 20,000 views, and my channel took off. And then I realized, okay, I'm just going to take this ball and run with it. I'm going to create more content right now.
This is 2016, you said?
I believe this was very late 2016. Yeah.
Okay. So crypto's still early. I mean, not super early, but early. Yeah.
Sure. And this period led up to, I guess I was just lucky. I started doing videos right when Bitcoin sort of rallied up to the $20,000 mark. And there weren't that many altcoins around, which is the name for all the other cryptocurrencies, as most of your viewers will probably know. But it was really easy to just pick something and then, oh, look at this. This looks promising. And then it would blow up because everything blew up pretty much.
So you're running this crypto channel. Obviously there's this gigantic run from like $2,000 in 2017 to the high of almost $20,000 in late 2017. Everything's going well. You're pumping all these coins. And at the time, maybe you were just kind of excited about it. I mean, was that what it was? When did you realize, because you told me in your email, you pretty quickly realized you were not only like just talking about the market, you were manipulating the market, whether or not you intended to.
Right. I mean, I remember... Well, I guess I vaguely remember. So I think my content was probably like 50% general advice or thoughts on the crypto market and 50% hyping specific cryptocurrencies. And I remember doing a video on something, and then I looked at the chart and I was like, this is weird. It just struck me as a weird coincidence that it would explode just as the number
the day your video went live.
Right. I could even sort of like, I could look at the analytics in YouTube a couple of days later. I'm like, the chart of my video is almost identical to the chart of the cryptocurrency. Right. And this was something I think I invested, if I remember correctly, invested, quote unquote. I bought $350 worth of this cryptocurrency, and then it did a 20x and I sold it. And then it just kept going until now.
What crypto was that?
I think this was, I believe this one is called Shield. I actually checked the charts.
Oh yeah. Shield's dead now.
It sort of is, but it still has a pretty good market cap. I mean, I don't know if it's still being run or whatever.
You're right. You're not in the space anymore, but it had a gigantic run, and you basically started it because you uploaded a video. You've unlisted all these videos now, but you sent me one of the videos because I wanted to get an idea of the sort of the content you made.
Did I send you the Shield one?
Yeah. You sent me the Shield one. Cool. And I was looking at the chart of Shield. You uploaded on December 17th or whatever. That exact day, Shield just spikes into the sky. Right. And in fact, you talked about two other cryptocurrencies, and those also had similar movements based on, kind of what you said about them. I think one of them you did not recommend, so it didn't move. And then the other one you also recommended. And again, right on December 17th, the market cap went from, I think it was like 4 million to 35 million in 2 days.
And then I think it peaked a little later at 110 million or something like that.
Right. But it was like not a long time later, like a short time later. This is a short-term pump that basically directly led from your video. You can like see the time. And let me repeat that again. $4 million to $35 million, or the all-time high of $110 million. Think of how insane that is. Asger, you ran a channel of, I think at the peak, it was like 40 to 50,000 subscribers on that channel.
A little more, but yeah, sure. None of us were very educated back then. And I think it's my impression that a lot of people would just...
Well, things have really changed now.
They have. I mean, to some extent they have. The general knowledge level in the space is definitely bigger than it used to be. But it was bizarre. So what was your question again? How did it happen? How can it happen?
Yeah, well, I guess that must have been a huge moment where you go, A, wow, this channel has way more influence than I thought it did. And B, does it occur to you, oh, I can use this and make a ton of money from being able to basically move the market with whatever, kind of garbage coin I want?
Right. Okay. So there's a couple things to unpack there. One of them is initially I didn't really believe that I was creating these market movements because I have an academic background. I know correlation doesn't necessarily equal a causal relation.
I know, but every crypto you talked about on that day just goes whoop. Just
right. No, I know it's completely insane. Right. And I guess at some point, I don't remember exactly if this was with the shield thing or Snovio, which is another one I talked about. But at some point, it changed from being just a suspicion to something I was, okay, this is me doing this. I remember I met up with a guy, also a fellow crypto enthusiast. We invited me out for a beer, I guess, and we went to a bar and had a few beers. And I told him about this theory I had. He was like, oh, for sure, man. Happens all the time. I was like, what? Does it? And, okay, so that's when I realized, okay, I can probably make a lot of money on this. And
yeah.
So I do want to interject just one thing. I think you used the term, I recommended the coin. So I've been very careful the whole way through this circus to never recommend anything. I don't think I've used that wording ever. I'm just saying.
Oh, sure.
This is. I'm aware that's how people perceive it, and people would write me emails. Oh, what was your recommendation again? Everyone would perceive it as a recommendation, and I was well aware of that. But I'm just saying, I try to sort of frame it as this is what I just did. I just bought this coin. I think it's a good investment. What you do is up to you. Of course, it's BS. Of course, it's BS. I mean, but right.
It is a recommendation without being a recommendation. It's like all the finance guys on YouTube.
I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, I don't want any lawsuit. Please continue.
Right. It's like all the finance guys on YouTube. All they do all day is tell people how to invest, whatever, give people investment advice. And then at the end or in the description fold, they go, oh, none of this is all entertainment. It's all just education, entertainment. This is not investment advice. And of course, the truth is that they do that to kind of cover themselves legally. So to be fair to you and to make sure you don't get in a lawsuit, sure, you didn't recommend any of it, but and I'm sure you didn't want to recommend it, but everybody knew that that's kind of what it amounted to, or at least that's ostensibly why you were getting the audience you were. Because some of these videos have like 250,000 views, and the crypto, enthusiast space is not massive. I mean, it's a small dedicated community. So you were getting pretty huge numbers. And it's because people look to you as a credible source. So how much money did you make? You don't have to be specific. Look, just give me ballpark. Let's ballpark this.
Okay.
Right?
But we should, before I say that, we should get into like the actual income streams I have or had running that channel. Because now you're asking this question, I think people expect to hear how much did I make on crypto investments, right? But I can say this, I managed to 65x my initial investment, but my initial investment was very small.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Still pretty good.
But I feel pretty confident saying I made probably around the same amount or as much money on sponsorships on the channel, sponsored content. And I also opened a cryptocurrency newsletter thing. I think I published it for 4 or 5 months for free. And after that, I said, now it's going to be $99 a month. And a lot of people signed up for that.
Oh, so you did like a paid subscription. That's a lot of money just for a newsletter every month.
But it was there would always be at least one crypto tip, and the track record was just not
a recommendation, guys. A tip.
Did I say tip? This is another misstep. I never used that word either. But I mean, I would feature at least one cryptocurrency that I thought was an interesting investment. And this all went, and honestly, Stephen, I was like, I didn't give the moral aspects of this too many considerations during the first, let's call it 6 to 9 months.
You're kind of in a honeymoon too, because you're making money. Your channel's making money. People love your content. People are happy you're publishing it. especially when things are going up, nobody's going to criticize. No one's upset. Nobody's unhappy with you.
Right.
In fact, you could almost pick any stock or any coin in 2017, and chances were that it kind of was doing okay.
Exactly.
Of course, then 2018 hits. And is that when you first had your first wake up, the big dip in 2018, that maybe people are getting hurt on the other end of this, or is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean that was one big shit show. When Bitcoin started tanking, it dragged everything else down. The whole market cap of the entire crypto market went from roughly $1 billion down to 150 million, something like that. It was really, really bad. Or am I?
And that's people's life savings or whatever they invested disappearing almost overnight. I mean, obviously some people got out better than others.
Sure.
But some people lost a ton of money.
Right. I mean, the worst part was I was one of those people, ironically, because I would place myself in a situation where, so I would publish this newsletter and my featured coin, I would be honest, or not honest, semi-open, honest, whatever, about this. I mean, obviously I've invested in this, and you can sort of frame that as, oh, I put my money where my mouth is, but I mean, normally that's a good thing. Many people stress that as a good thing. I think it is in other aspects of life, but here it's it's sort of hypocrisy to some
little
extent.
Bit of a conflict of interest, a little bit.
Sure, but at least it's just still better to know that, okay, this guy has a conflict of interest than me pretending not to, or okay. But here's what would happen. Sure. Okay, so I would invest in something. I would actually typically accumulate very slowly over time before I published my report, because I didn't want to manipulate the market in anticipation of the report coming out. But then I would sit on sometimes pretty absurd quantities of a specific cryptocurrency, and then it would go up. And then when my report was published, it was immediately spike. And then I would later do a video on it, which would cause another spike typically. But then I realized, okay, this is kind of unethical, because these people are paying me good money each month to get this recommendation. So, or non-recommendation. So I would just hodl, as we call it, holding in crypto space, to my own detriment. But I was like, yeah.
Oh, so you'd hold on during the pump, and then after it dumps, like
I would just hold on to it. This is after I've had all these thoughts about morality and ethics and stuff.
But wait. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Okay. When did you have that first thought about, like, maybe there's an ethical question here that I should pay attention to? Maybe some people are losing out. What was that thought?
I mean, it sort of went hand in hand with the number of emails I got from people telling me I was a scammer. They wanted to kill me. They hated me. They lost everything because of me. I had a couple death threats.
Because people lost so much money, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, one guy wrote me, he'd opened 3 new credit cards, maxed out all of them, just to go all in on one specific cryptocurrency. I mean, that's, I actually, I mean, even though I felt some responsibility, that's sort of, when I got that email, I was like, I actually don't feel responsible for this. This is so reckless. This behavior is so reckless. I mean, I would never encourage that type of behavior. Or
sure. But it's excessive, of course. But at the same time, you're thinking to yourself, yikes, that was my recommendation, not recommendation. Right. That led to this. Okay, so then that's when you had the idea, well, maybe you can't sleep at night too well if you're actively, like, profiting off the pump side of your thing. So you decide to hodl the coin, and even if it dips, just out of a principle of I recommended it, so if I own it, I'm owning it for some sort of long view.
So just to, I'm not trying to make myself sound as a saint here. There was a period of, I don't know exactly how long, 2, 3, 4 months, something like that, before I started implementing this ethical practice, if you will.
2, 3, 4 months of riding the pump.
Something like that. I mean, maybe not quite as long.
How profitable was that for you in terms of maybe like, were you able to double your money? Were you able to triple your money? What were you able to do?
That's the period where I was able to 64x my money. But as I said, it was a pretty measly amount of money.
Sure.
I mean, had I had 20 grand to go in with, I mean, we would have been speaking
talking
at the Bahamas right now, right.
Yeah.
So it was more like this bizarre thing where I had a few $100s and then I was like, what? Now this is $4,000. It was just a few $100s a minute ago, right? And then it sort of happened again. And then like, okay, I actually have some.
Asger, you're a terrible pump and dump artist. I got to tell you, you have too many morals for it. You don't have enough money for it.
Right.
You're not very good at this. I've got to tell you, I've talked to a lot of people who've run scams intentionally or not. Obviously, in your case, it was different, but and they typically, you need that kind of sociopathic element to it where you just don't care if people get hurt, and you don't have that. So you started feeling bad, then you start hodling, and what happens there? Are you still making money? I would guess not.
So I'm making during the what is commonly referred to as the crypto winter now. Mm-hmm. So after the crash of Bitcoin, essentially, and the whole market. I mean, I would make money on the newsletter, but obviously my numbers there would dwindle as well, and I wouldn't make money on any of the investments or a featured investment or whatever. That would be all losses, and the amount of hate mail I got was increasing day by day, and it just started feeling like one big shit show. And the only viable income stream during this period, during this almost 2-year period, I might add, was really these people reaching out, companies launching new cryptocurrencies or running ICOs, which is equivalent of an IPO.
Explain what that is for people who don't know. Initial coin offering. Initial
coin offering. Well, it's essentially just a funding round, I guess, a public funding round. And I didn't jump on that wave initially, but there was like a good few months where everybody would just make insane profits on every single ICO. Then the American authorities started sort of looking into it and shutting it down essentially, but there would still be weird other ICOs. In Europe, it would still be legal, and there were other countries who were running them.
And we should be clear, a lot of these ICOs, their coin was based on nothing. I mean, they like basically...
It was a copy-paste of the Ethereum source code, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And they were basically pumping it up as the next big thing. Tons of people were getting in. The coin would subsequently go to near or almost zero, or sometimes zero. And then everyone would lose their money except the founders of the ICO and the marketers, who both kind of cash out, whether it be through sponsorship money or through... the ICO money. So you got approached by these guys, and they're basically saying, "Hey, it's crypto winter. Don't you want a few bucks?" How much were they willing to pay?
So that changed a lot, actually. So I think the first time it happened, a company offered me $500 just to do like not even a tutorial, just like point attention to their idea. Which was a legitimate idea launched by business professionals who had been running other companies for decades. So I felt pretty confident about doing that. And I was like, whoa, $500 for a video. The next time around, it was $1,000 for a video. Then, I mean, it really depends on your numbers, what they want, whether they pay you in their native currency or in US dollars, which was also sometimes the case, or Bitcoin or Ethereum. But anything from $500 to $10,000. I have
$10,000 for one video that it takes you how many a day?
I mean, when people pay me 10 grand to make a video, I do spend at least 2 days researching the whole thing. And I mean, so yeah, I probably spend 2-3 days on that.
But here's what I want to think, because I don't want people to think that, you were a sellout or anything like else. I think this is indicative of the crypto market as a whole and what the crypto market is still doing.
Yeah.
You subsequently got out because you were a little bit disgusted with the whole thing, the mentality of crypto investing, which seems to be, just pump up the next coin, pump up the next coin, pump this coin, that coin, the other coin. And these people basically profit a ton of money from riding the pump before they actually, release the video or whatever. They know the stock's going to go or the coin's going to go up. And you're kind of disgusted with it. So I want people to be clear when we're talking about these, sponsorships, when we're talking about these pumps, this still happens. And as an investor, you should know that. If you're going to get into crypto, not very regulated, you have to know these risks are there, and the people that you trust on YouTube may or may not be disclosing where their interests lie, what coins they're holding, when they're selling. So I wanted to make a quick caveat there because I should have brought it up earlier. That's why I want to have you on. You quit crypto, you're out. Your story is kind of like your story has moved on from crypto. Now you're doing other things, but this is still going on. Is that why you felt compelled to come on the show?
I think the main reason I wanted to come on the show really is I guess it sort of left me with a trauma almost, which is a part of the story we haven't really gotten into yet. But I was obviously, as a YouTuber or as a social media personality, and you could probably relate to this, obviously you peek a little bit to your competition just to see what are they doing, how are they growing their channel, can I learn something from this guy or whatever.
Sure.
So I would do that too. And oh man, I lost my train of thought here, but yeah, okay, so I regained it again. So the main thing is there's this narrative, especially in the cryptocurrency space. It's sort of like this anarcho-capitalist mindset, in a sense that the banks are evil, they're out to get us. Decentralized finance can solve that riddle. That's the narrative we're running with right now. Sure. Decentralized finance. And there's some truth to that. Obviously, there is some truth to that. I mean, just looking back at 2008 and the whole bailout of the banks. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff to criticize there, rightfully so. But I just realized, okay, 95% of the audience, my audience on social media, want to hear this mantra. They want me essentially to be a general. We're in this battle, right? And they want me to say, climb the damn hillside, death to the banksters, and all that stuff, right? And I was really tempted to go down that route, but I mean, I'm quite interested in philosophy and talking about producing arguments for and against, thesis, antithesis, etc., all that stuff. So it was pretty clear to me that no, this is a little oversimplified. I can't actually sign on to this thing. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. And I was trying to explain my audience, listen, guys, these predators are out there. They tell you this BS story. It's not necessarily an untrue story, partially maybe. But the reason they do that is they want you to subscribe to their newsletter and invest in these things.
They're just pandering to you. They know what you believe.
That's exactly
they pander to you. They reflect your beliefs back to you cynically because they don't actually care. They just want to just kind of push your buttons, you're saying.
Right.
And people didn't know that. You said, I want to pull back the curtains. How did people respond to that?
The more I went into detail about exposing that, or whatever you will, the less views my videos will get.
Bro, people don't want to hear about the bearish views. They don't want to hear about anything that goes against the hype train.
Right. I mean, I even want to go as far as to say the truth. You can't handle the truth, right? I mean, people don't want to. They just don't want to hear it. And I think even though some people, I mean.
That's so sad, though, in a way. You develop this audience only to realize you're a slave to what your audience wants, not actually.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around. Like, the audience doesn't care what you have to say. That you're almost a puppet for reinforcing what they already believe about crypto and handing them like picks that may or may not be legitimate, all to justify their pre-existing beliefs. And they could be getting scammed, you're saying. In some cases, maybe they are being scammed and they have no idea. and they don't want to hear it that they are being scammed. They
Right.
just want to roll.
Right. And I want to elaborate on what you just said there, because I think this is crucial, right? One thing is being scammed in such a way that you have described here on your channel, in many of your videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a specific scam, a course you sign up for, then there's an upsell. So that's a scam, right? But there's a bigger scam going on, which is you being presented with directly targeted social media content every single day. And this is so obvious, right? In this day and age, right? The algorithms target you. They don't just do blanket or canvas. Let's try and send out these videos to these random people. No. They know what's going to keep you glued to the screen, right? And they'll give you more of that. And it's just so bizarre as a content creator to realize that in real time as it happens, that, okay, I can keep growing this channel. I can make way more money. I'm sort of going bankrupt right now because I keep diverging from this narrative people want to hear, but I can't bring myself I just can't bring myself to lie to people.
Lie to
essentially. Yeah.
Even though they want to be lied to. In a way, the crypto community is almost, I mean, I don't want to lump people together. The people who followed a narrative of like, don't tell me anything, just give me the tips, give me the hot tips, whatever. Those people were complicit in their own deception. And you couldn't bring yourself, even though they kind of wanted it, you couldn't bring yourself to do it.
But then that's one aspect. And then there's another aspect of people watching a video such as this one we're recording right now. And they probably know, oh yeah, okay, these guys are onto something. They know what we're talking about. But still, in terms of their investments, they need to protect their investments, right? So it's not in their best interests financially to spread this message that, hey, all this anarcho-capitalism, many of these people don't really mean it. They just say it because it's a nice sounding narrative. They know 99% of their audience subscribe to those ideas, and that's how they can keep growing and building a tribe, right? That's another thing, right? The tribe from a marketing point of view.
Yeah, I'm more worried. I don't really care about the ideology. Like you said, it's a tool. I mean, what you're describing is grifting, which has been around forever. Someone just cynically using an ideology to convince people to basically take their money. So I'm not so concerned about the anarcho-capitalism or whatever you believe. I don't really care. The point is that YouTubers giving advice, or sorry, they probably would say, we're not giving recommendations, right? Nobody's giving recommendations. These people have ulterior motives sometimes, especially when money gets involved, when the opportunity to make serious, like 65x returns, like you said, your priorities change.
Right.
You don't have to call out any names, but do you believe right now there are YouTubers in the crypto space using their audience to basically make themselves a personal fortune?
I believe that there are no crypto YouTubers who don't do that. So I know that's a radical statement, but no, okay. So you and I I think we had a brief discussion about this on your screening call with me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a few people that I watch their videos every now and then. I mean, I'm not that interested in the space anymore, but or I'm like one guy. I can even mention him. Crypto Daily, Cameron is his real name. I've met him once. Very nice guy. He's a friend of a friend. What he does, he sort of puts a comedic angle on the whole thing. So it's just like watching a comedy show. And as you watch this comedy show, you get the daily crypto news. And he always discloses when his content is sponsored. I would think that's as close to ethical as you can be in the cryptocurrency space. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are other people who do the same thing, but let me just put it this way. There's no way you can run a cryptocurrency channel full time without playing into these narratives that we talked about, pandering, and or and you also need to make money from somewhere. And the thing I see most common is, okay, so I know I still get emails from some companies who I'm still on their list, I guess. So $2,000 to give us a mention about this, and then I see all the cryptocurrency YouTubers give them a mention. So I know why they do that at that point in time, but they don't say anything about it being sponsored content.
Oh no, they don't. You know, John McAfee right now is indicted by the U.S. for doing exactly that.
He was the very last guy I interviewed on my channel.
Really? Yeah. No, it's very sad because well, it depends if you're a fan of John McAfee or not. I kind of am. He's kind of this.
I mean, he's an intriguing personality,
anti-hero.
definitely.
Right. But anyway, it doesn't matter what you think about him. The point is he had pumped all these crypto coins and never disclosed that, hey, I'm being paid a lot of money to do this. And so right now he's indicted for that exact reason. I think he's sitting in jail somewhere. So I mean, this stuff is really serious, but it's just happening on such a wide scale across, you know, multiple YouTubers. Everybody, like, I feel like everybody's been caught doing this. There's a bunch of rappers now who've been caught pumping ICOs. There's like, it's hit the mainstream. Right. Everybody's pumping some garbage altcoin just to make a quick buck because these companies are willing to pay you so much money to do it.
But again, I want to sort of stress, I feel like there's a silver lining somewhere, right? Where one thing is, okay, so they pump some coin, right? But another thing is the whole thing that led up to that moment that even made that possible, right? So you've been following some person, whether it be John McAfee or some rapper or a crypto guru, whatever. You've been following them for a while and you've been watching their videos, and for each video you consume, they build a little bit more trust all the time, right? So they add to the personal, you're sort of building a personal relationship to people. You feel like you know them, but they don't know you, but you feel like you know them, right? Then comes the kill, right? Or the kill or the sell or whatever it is. But it's just this whole BS. I mean, and the more square and simple the general messages are, the more red flags are in it to me. I mean,
oh, like a simple message being this coin is going to the moon, guys. Everyone jump in.
Yeah, or maybe rather, these people are evil, right? We're the good guys.
Like in the world finance banking system, these people are evil. They've been holding us down. Now's our time to rise up. This
is a revolution, guys, right? You want to join it, or you just want to sit here and be passive good sheeple, right?
But I love the sheeple. I feel like a lot of crypto is just at this point maybe just driven by FOMO. I mean, it's not even like any kind of philosophy. Maybe the like early adopters were like maybe philosophically interested. Now it's happening because people are just afraid of missing out on, you know, giant wealth opportunities.
Sure.
As someone who's been in the space, how do you judge an actual crypto opportunity versus just hype? I mean, would you say that I always, you know, think about like Bitcoin and Ethereum as sort of the safest bets? Would you kind of agree to that, or what do you think?
That depends on the market. I mean, it depends on the overall trend. And
good. This is good. A nuanced take. Good.
Right. Okay. That was easy. No. Okay. So what's your question again, specifically?
So for people out there who are looking at crypto, they go, maybe this is a good opportunity, maybe not. I don't know where to begin, but I don't want to get like basically persuaded by some essentially charlatan to jump into some unsavory investment. How do you think about crypto now that you've distanced yourself from it?
Okay, so there's a couple things there. First of all, you're right. It's pretty much all hype. In some sense, it's all psychology, really. But then comes the realization following that that's actually also the case for the stock markets.
For all of money. Yeah,
it actually is. It's just on a much bigger scale. And of course, because crypto is such a small scale, it's much easier to manipulate, right? I mean, and that's still the case, but I mean, it's growing all the time. So and then ironically, you used the word charlatan. I think that's very that's probably the right word to use in many cases in the crypto space. But ironically, It's really about finding something before the charlatans find it and start talking about it. That's the. I'm involved. I'm in a single Telegram group. I'm involved in a single cryptocurrency project, sort of on the sidelines. I don't really spend any time on it. I don't talk about it on social media, but I talk about it with some friends online. And I mean, some of those people are really good. They dig really deep, and it's but at the end of the day, it's really about if you can anticipate, okay, how is this likely to be presented? And of course, if they have advisors like high profile Silicon Valley, if they have Peter Thiel on, or Mark Zuckerberg's sister was on a company's board that reached out to me a couple of years back. I mean, stuff like that. It's really okay. So they have some really good connections, and you can look at the chart. Has it moved yet? No, it has not. But again, all this, I don't really believe that this. Oh, this is for the long term. This is just buy this crypto, keep it for 5-10 years, you'll be good. No, fuck no. I mean, get the hell out as soon as possible. I mean, you can still make. There are still some good financial opportunities in this space, but you have to ask yourself this question, and this goes for the regular fiat and stock money markets as well, stock and money markets as well, and commodity markets. For all markets, really, is most people lose money. So you have to explain to me in a credible manner, and yourself essentially, is there any good reason why you belong to the group that's not going to lose money here? I mean, I have a friend who has a
most people are biased to say yes because people typically overestimate their own intelligence and expertise in a skill, especially when they're first getting in. And this is sort of the problem with crypto is nearly everyone, it's changing now, but nearly everyone in crypto are unsophisticated investors who maybe all they know how to do is read a chart and that's it.
Right. And add to that the crypto markets are so unpredictable that your first experience as a completely naive actor in this space might be a good one, right? Because you're so naive, you have no idea what you're doing. You're just following the crowd. Oh, we're going this way. Oh, let's go this way, right? So you buy in some shit coin and then you 5x your money and then you sell it and you're like, that was easy. Let's do it again, right? So that's even worse because that triggers a conditioned response.
It's a bad learning environment. Yeah, it's a terrible learning environment.
To put it mildly, yeah. Right.
You quit crypto. I mean, I think we've alluded to this several times in this story, but you have a video called "I'm Quitting Crypto." All this stuff. And I was looking in the comments, and everyone seems to think, "Oh, it's just because he lost money," or "Oh, you didn't
He'll
hold
be back.
on. He'll be back." Whatever. Can you explain to people the real reason you left crypto? If you could summarize it in a few minutes. We've already heard about how jaded you were, kind of realizing what your audience wanted versus what the truth was as you saw it, and your inability to speak that truth or risk losing all your subscribers. What was it?
So I found myself at a crossroad, and I had, during the couple years I ran this channel, I realized, okay, I know exactly actually how I can make a lot of money on this. I at one point I even had
you have a formula. You have a total formula.
The whole formula, and not just with YouTube, right? Not just with sponsorships, but I could build out this newsletter. I could do like a sister newsletter that sort of appealed to another demographic. All this was on the table, right? I met up with people. I had 6 employees over the years, I think, in various positions. And I would, and I just, but I just could not. It's sort of like this. Yeah, it was like I was presented with this choice. Ultimately, I tried to not make the choice to find some golden middle path, right? But I just ultimately had to realize that is not possible. I could choose the money, and I can probably become a multimillionaire in a very short period of time, or I can choose something else. But it was.
What is that something else?
I mean, that something else could be anything.
But in some ways it's your ethics, right?
Oh, sure. Of course it is. I mean, I try to tell myself, oh, now I'm sort of following my passion, which is something I usually make a little fun of, or in a gentle manner, at least, when people say that. But I actually am only pursuing things that I'm super passionate about right now. But the whole financial thing is right, because I hadn't had a job for good 3 years. I think I didn't need a job. I mean, this whole circus covered all my life expenses. So just this whole, okay, I'm going to stop doing this. People are going to stop reaching out to me with offers all the time. I'm going to go from being sort of, I'm not a minor celebrity. That's obviously not what you are when you're doing social media, but people would stop me in the street every now and then. Oh, you're that money guy. Oh yeah, I'm the money guy, you know, and all that stuff. I would just have to let go of all that. But especially the financial independence thing. And also, because I do want to stress this, I do have a few people who I'm still in touch with, who followed me on the original In It for the Money channel, that are smart and who are ethical and and who took this to heart and have even pushed back on some of the stuff I said and taught me stuff. So there are good people out there, but it's, I want to say, less than 1%. And it's really something, this is actually something that every person, going back to the whole crossroad I found myself at, you have to decide with yourself, are you willing to do what it takes, really essentially sacrificing what is hopefully some of your moral principles, or do you think you're able to find some ethical manner to balance these things?
You made an extremely hard choice. I mean, we say it on the channel that people should make the ethical choice, but we also know that a lot of people don't. And the reason a lot of people don't is because, you know, money's tempting, fame's tempting, adulation, you know, you're getting tons of emails saying, oh, I love your channel, whatever. You kind of gave that up.
Right. Invites for, we fly you out to this
crypto,
conference,
status,
status
everything. You just gave it up because you realized there was no way you could ethically exist in the crypto space. That's what essentially you just told me.
Right.
What are you doing now?
It's a question that's very easy to ask, a little hard to answer. So I'm originally Danish, so I'm bilingual, and occasionally I work with translation companies. Just finished a project there. So I'm sort of between gigs right now, but I do acting too, and it's actually going surprisingly well. And I'm moving into screenwriting, potentially production to movie production.
So you are chasing the passion, even though you say, you kind of joke about it, but yeah, you are pursuing your passion actually.
Oh, I absolutely am. I mean, but it's just one of those things where there are so many variables that you can't control all of them. So to some extent, you're at the mercy of other people, gatekeepers and stuff.
So I feel like your story is one of kind of being, I don't know, it's the proverbial deal with the devil, you know, like money, status, fame, whatever.
Right.
And you know, you turned it down. You said you found philosophy. What does that mean to you?
I mean,
I just say this because I have a video on my channel called Confessions of a Copywriter, where
I think I've seen it.
The guy said the exact same thing. He goes, you know, I found philosophy and I realized maybe making money wasn't, you know, everything. But what does that mean to you?
I mean, I've read philosophy books when I was 15. So that's just back in the mid 90s. So I mean, I've always been interested in philosophy, but I think maybe I should have said epistemology. I'm going to make a recommendation here. There's a great YouTube channel out there called Street Epistemology by a guy called Anthony Magnabosco. This is a shout out to someone who really deserves it. If you haven't seen it, I take it. But it's not just, it's hilarious. He uses Socratic questioning method to interview people in the street. He's in Texas, so a lot of them are quite religious. And then he just asks them, it's really just about, why do you believe what you believe? That is more or less the
How do you know that you know? Yeah, that's what epistemology is.
Right. Or no, that's why I say believe, because knowledge is a little iffy to me. But it's really just this whole questioning your own mind. That was sort of the basis for my podcast too. I tell this story where this is many years ago. I would live with my girlfriend back then. One day I found this photo and she was standing there with a guy. They were like holding each other, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I could just tell there was some chemistry between these people, right? And then I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And she looks at me as if I'm a moron, right? And she goes, have you lost it, dude? That's you. And I look again, I'm like, oh, that's right. It's me, right? But that's when I realized you can't even trust your senses, right? And people think, oh, that's just him. Maybe he was having a psychotic breakdown or whatever. No, dude, that's everyone. There's really just this whole that, oh, just because I see it with my own eyes, that means it's 100% true. There's no, if I remember something, it must be correct. I mean, our standard MO as human beings is simply not, has very little to do with reality, with any external reality, whether you believe in it or not. I guess that was a rant. Sorry about that.
No. It's okay. No, it's okay. I think it's a good pitch for those who are interested in MetaQuest. That's the podcast that you run. I think it gives people a good kind of feeling for what you do, right?
But that I've stopped running, actually. So I don't even want to send people over there. You know what? If people want to follow me, they can go to Ask Asger. That's a YouTube channel. Very small, 100 subscribers. That's probably the only one that's going to be active.
That you're working with right now.
Right. Could we just get that point across that I tried to rebrand the YouTube channel, the In It for the Money YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah. Let's right. You told me this, and then one thing that's immediately apparent when you go to your channel, which has been rebranded from the crypto world, and you were uploading to it, is that as soon as you stopped talking about, as soon as you stopped being in it for the money, which, can we talk about how ironic that name is? You actually were not, of all the people, your title of your show is totally deceptive, because you are not clearly in it for the money. And when you stopped being in it,
when I started the channel,
when you stopped being in it for the money, though, the subscribers, the views, everything dried up like super quick. You went from having a channel that was getting like 250K views a video to now it's much less than that.
Yeah, lucky to get 1,000 views now. Yeah.
So literally everyone just follows you for the fun. And once you started challenging them with, maybe this isn't all what it's cracked up to be, you lose it all. Do you think crypto is still a good investment?
That's like saying, do you think stocks are a good investment? I mean, that's a very broad question, right?
Sure. No. I mean,
are there good investments?
The long-term crypto outlook, like not as maybe a particular coin, but I'm talking more the technology, the underlying kind of.
I mean, sure. I mean, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, as some people are. I do think it's going to be around for a very long time, but I mean, it's still, the protocol has been compromised twice. So, and it is true what critics, what's his name, Rubini, say, that it's not backed by anything. I'm just coming with all the classical arguments here. I think it's going to be around for a very long time. And I mean, blockchain technology is clearly useful, has many use cases. But when people say this is much bigger than the internet, that's why I can't follow anymore, right? Because that's just, because what is this technology without the internet? It's worthless, essentially. Or at least some kind of internet.
Yeah, and right. Yeah, I think that's clearly hyperbole. But.
So yes, optimistic. I mean, there still is money to be made.
Do you hold crypto? I guess that's
a little bit. I mean, I could actually give a shout out to a decentralized crypto player. I mean, I don't know if you mind giving a shout out.
Let's stay away from shout outs related to this, just because. Just due to
but I can just describe what it is. I am using a social media platform that is sort of integrated with cryptocurrency.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm really involved in right now.
Asger, I've got to ask, you've been in the crypto space really during the good times or in the bad times. Can you go through some horror stories, of what happened in crypto, the things that would happen? Because obviously there are people making 65X. And there's also a lot worse than that. Can you walk me through some of your, I'm sure you've got some battle scars.
I do have a lot of battle scars, but okay, let's start with the small and move up to the big. So one email that hit me was a guy from, he was from South America, Venezuela, I think, a young guy, 22. He sent me a photo of himself he was in the Navy, actually on a ship in a nice white uniform.
He sent
wrote,
you a photo of himself, like to prove that this is me.
This is actually me, right? Yeah. And he sent me it wasn't a sob email at all. It was sort of like it was actually kind of like a thank you email. And he wrote me, I get $286 a month or something like that, around $300 a month. That's my salary down here. And I'm happy to spend $99 on your newsletter each month. And this was right after the market had started crashing. I remember that hit me. That kind of hurt, you know. Wow. And I don't remember. I think I sent him an answer back, but I don't actually remember what I wrote. Okay, so that's like I was welling up a little bit reading that email, right? Then on the other end of the spectrum, I did a sponsored video. Yeah, let's just keep it broad. Obviously, it was obvious to anyone it was a sponsored video. I stated in the video, this is a sponsored video. The company paid me this amount, blah, blah, blah. Not this specific amount, obviously. But thing is, so they paid me a little bit upfront. Then came the time for me to get the rest of the payment. And the company completely ignored me. We even signed an NDA and a contract. This was a US-based company. But it took me about a year to get that money. And it was just people lying to me at the executive level in these companies. But the problem is, so many people, so not with this, but this has happened multiple times, that the CEO of a company sits, so they have, you know, maybe they have like a monthly AMA or something like that, right? And there was a couple cases where they just sat there lying about me, telling straight up lies about me. Oh, we never said that, one guy said. But I recorded it. And then I shot him an email saying, why do you say that you never said that? You told me. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then I sent him the recording of him saying it. But the thing is, I wanted to expose these guys. But here's the thing, Stephen.
So what things were they lying about? There's a white lie, like
right. So there was like
good looking.
No. This was sort of like some specific questions about their company that would be very important in evaluating whether this is a sound business or not.
Sure.
So I had told my subscribers, my 19,000 man strong email list, I'm going to ask this person this question because I've been in touch with the company already. and then he started, someone asked him of a live stream, said, oh, the In for the Money guy said that he was going to ask you this question. Why haven't you answered it? And then he said, oh, he never asked me this question. He's lying. He actually literally said I was lying. And I don't like that In It for the Money guy.
Do you remember what the question was? Like what it pertained to? Just give us an idea. It doesn't have to relate to the question.
I don't remember. I mean, it could have been something about a timeline. Are you still projecting, are you going to launch this product in Q1 of 2019 or something like that? I mean,
right. And he goes, nah, that In It for the Money guy, he's an idiot.
Yeah, he actually said, I don't like that guy. But here's the thing. I wanted to expose that guy so bad, right? And I have a recording and I have his emails. I have all the materials in the world for me to do so. But a lot of the people who followed me and trusted me invested in his cryptocurrency. So if I expose this guy,
you're hurting your subscribers,
right? And I chose not to do that. And there's a couple other examples of very similar situations where I'm like, man, I really want to expose these assholes. It doesn't, and at the end of the day, it doesn't even have to mean that the company will do worse. It could actually mean that it'll do better if it's led by some ruthless, cutthroat CEO, right? But who am I to know, right? But if I have 1,000 people who have trusted me, followed me for years, some of these people I'm actually friendly with, you know.
And they went in because of your recommendation, and you expose it, and the stock gets crushed for a month. They're going to be pissed.
or they maxed out a credit card and they're going to lose everything, right?
No. There were people actually maxing out credit cards for crypto. That seems so hard to believe.
I think at one point that was the norm rather than the exception.
Wow. That is unbelievable.
You could do a poll maybe or something.
I heard in one of your videos, you talked about this guy investing in, I don't want to misquote what it was. Let me see. I think I wrote it down. Verge or
right.
He Verge like 50x'd after you talked about it, which again, I can't say how crazy that is.
That was not on me. Not exclusively on me. I think I made one of the first 2 Verge videos out there, but there are hundreds of videos on
Okay,
Verge.
Sure. Fair enough. But you made a video and then basically months later, this guy got in and lost all his money. And he sent you an email about it. And I don't know how you would deal with this. I mean, it was literally a death threat that like you lost me all my money.
Right.
I agree with you that like, should you be totally responsible? No. Is there, I don't know. I'm not an ethicist or whatever, but it can't feel good to hear that. You know, I pumped some stock. I said it was good. And you can make all the qualifications you want about a tip, a recommendation, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, that was your video. He acted on it because of your video. And then like materially he's hurt, even though it was a stupid decision on his part.
Right. But I think that's a more general problem, right? Because I think it was more than a few months. I think it was maybe 6 months or maybe even a year after the video.
Yeah, it's an education problem for him as well about like how to, you know, manage your money, how to think about crypto.
Sure.
You said in one of your videos that self-help is useless, or a lot of self-help is useless. Let's qualify. And it's the blind leading the blind. What do you mean by that?
I mean, this is so basic, but the good old Socrates quote that all I know is that I know nothing. But I mean, and of course it shouldn't be taken literally, but it's just this whole understanding that people who are very confident and who think they have everything figured out generally, I mean, it's back to the Dunning-Kruger effect, essentially, is what I'm describing right now. That people who know less is more inclined to believe they know everything there is to know about a subject matter. And people who actually know a lot about a subject matter, or more experts, if you will, are more prone to realizing that there are a lot of holes in my knowledge about this topic, right? So from the outside, it seems that the expert is less knowledgeable than the fool. And that creates this mechanism of the blind leading the blind. And sometimes they end up in a good place, to be fair, but that's just sheer luck.
Luckily, my followers don't have to worry about that because I truly do know everything.
Yeah, you're blessed in that sense. No, but there's some truth to that, right?
No, there's no truth to that.
No.
What did you say? All I know is that I know nothing, guys. Right. I'm basically Socrates at this point. One thing that I thought was funny, and I wanted to tell you that I reacted. I could have called it, like, had we been friends at the time, I could have told you people's answer to this question. Because in your quitting crypto video, you said, quote, here it is. You were talking about how you were wanting to talk about philosophy and, you know, all these things. And I wrote down what you said because I thought it was so funny you said this, because I think I know the answer. You told your subscribers, sort of as a rhetorical question, would you rather learn some important stuff that ultimately sheds light on not just yourself, but all humans, or listen to some dude reading you crypto news with little to no relevance in your life? Let me rephrase it. Would you rather join the ranks of the top minds in the world and ultimately be able to implement this knowledge into your life, joining the few percent of the global population who even has this knowledge, or just listen to some crypto news and try to make some money? You said that because to you, it was so obvious that everyone would say, oh, yeah, of course. I just want to know the deep secrets of the world and I want to understand myself.
Yeah.
And metacognition is so interesting and I want to learn epistemology. And I could have told you, having been on YouTube long enough, what your audience's actual answer to the question is.
Right.
And it is, they want to hear some dude read them crypto and tell them the easy answer. And they don't want to hear about how it's complicated, and they don't want to hear about how it's nuanced, and they don't want to hear any of that. Instead, they want to know what the stock tip or coin tip is, and that's it. So I thought it was hilarious that you said that, because I thought to myself, oh man, this
right.
is
I mean, hindsight is always 2020, right?
I said to myself, this is a lesson in the making.
Yeah.
It's a lesson in the making about how just how people think or don't think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
absolutely is,
anyways, so yeah.
Point taken, Steve. Right.
Hey guys, you heard it here. I think your story is fascinating, Asger. I think you're fascinating. You're a great person. People should go follow you at Ask Asger on YouTube. Thank you so much for taking the time. And,
you too, Steven.
Taking time out of your day. Appreciate you coming on the show. Any last words for people? Sign us off here.
Think about why you believe what you believe. That goes for micro decisions. Should I invest in this? Should I go this way or that way? Should I try something new? Just think about why you believe what you believe. That's really...
Don't follow the hype.
Or do follow the hype, but know that that's what you're doing if you're doing it.
Sure. Thanks,
Thanks, Steven.
Appreciate it.
You too, man.